Share this request involves Highway 2, where flood damage forced a more than 2-week closure between Skykomish and Leavenworth after sections of the road collapsed. The state seeking about $16 million for emergency repairs and another $16 million for permanent restoration. The funding request also includes repairs to I-90, State Route 20, State Route 410, Highway 12 near Natchez, State Route 542, as well as Highway 101 near Forks here on the Olympic Peninsula. And Washington's 3 law schools are urging the state Supreme Court to grant diploma privilege to 645 graduates after this week's bar exam was canceled because of widespread technology problems. The deans of Seattle University, University of Washington, and Gonzaga say licensing the graduates without requiring another exam is the fairest solution, pointing to the financial costs. The State Bar Association has offered a makeup exam in September, but the schools argue that would still postpone jobs and income for many graduates. The Supreme Court granted diploma privilege to hundreds of graduates during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the justices are now considering whether they'll do that again. This is News Radio KONP. This Thursday, we talk business with our Business Bits. Small business advisor Kevin Holt joins us with some practical tips and advice to help local businesses succeed, whether you're just getting started or looking to grow. That's this afternoon on the TO Show.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
Your birth experience should feel like yours. Come meet the midwives who can make that happen. Meet Our Midwives is a free monthly open house at Olympic Medical Center where you can get to know our certified nurse midwives, tour our birth center, and start planning the birth that feels right for you. Join us the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. in the Olympic Memorial Hospital Sunroom. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/meetourmidwives.
If you love If you love If you love You can go your own way. Then you'll love Z104.9. Z104.9. Classic gold hits for the Olympic Peninsula.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 65. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 52 tonight, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 70 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Temperatures a bit below average Saturday and Sunday with highs in the low 60s. Rain likely Saturday. A peek at the extended shows, 68 Monday, 73 Tuesday, and 72 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 64 degrees.
I'm Nick DeLuca. Major League Baseball trade deadline a few days away. Biggest name on the market, Tarek Skubal. The Tigers trying to stay alive in the playoff race. Skubal on the bump against the Orioles, reaching 1,000 career strikeouts, needing just 153 games to reach the mark, second fewest by a lefty all-time, trailing only Randy Johnson. Skubal going 6 1/3, 3 earned, 6 strikeouts in his potential farewell start. But the Orioles would score 7 straight to force extras, and in the 12th, Colton Cowser cashed in.
The pitch, loop past the mound, it's going to dribble at a center, a base hit! His first RBI in 24 games, it's 10-9. A 2-strike hit off a lefty. How about that?
WBAL on the call. The Orioles rallied to win it. Baltimore picking up their first win after trailing by 7+ runs in a game since 2009, 10-9. The final. Training camps underway in the NFL. Couple quarterbacks looking for contracts heading into 2026. The Texans trying to figure out C.J. Stroud's future. With negotiations ongoing, Stroud says he's just focused on football.
I've learned you got to keep the main thing, and, just focus on one day at a time, one play, and the football is what's got me to even having the conversation to be able to get a second contract. So I got to focus on football.
Meanwhile, Saints quarterback Taysom Hill won't be returning to the team for this season. He confirmed in a statement posted on social media, did leave the door open to play elsewhere this year. One of only 5 players in NFL history to score at least 10 touchdowns through rushing, receiving, and passing. The NBA investigation into the LA Clippers potentially circumventing the salary cap to pay Kawhi Leonard could move into 2027.
In local sports, a late-game comeback kept the Wilder Baseball Club seniors 18 and under team rolling Wednesday as they rallied for a 6-4 win over Highland, Indiana at the Babe Ruth World Series in Missouri. Highland jumped out to an early 2-0 lead in the first and extended to 4-1 in the third, but Wilder stayed within striking distance before breaking through in the bottom of the sixth. Easton Fisher delivered the biggest hit of the game with a 2-run triple to tie it, and Wilder took the lead moments later with another run, crossing the plate on a wild pitch. With that victory, Wilder advances to face Mexico today as the tournament play continues there in Branson. The Port Angeles Lefties came up short last night, falling to the Victoria Harbor Cats 3-2 in Victoria. Port Angeles continues its series there tonight. The WNBA has suspended Seattle Storm minority co-owner Celeste Keaton from the team's next 5 home games and fined the franchise after she confronted 2 teenage fans during Tuesday's game against the Indiana Fever. The Storm apologized, saying all fans should feel welcome and respected. The incident came amid controversy over Fever guard Sophie Cunningham's recent comments on transgender athletes and a pregame rally supporting her position of girls only in girls sports. And Eric Lauer tossed one hit ball over 6 scoreless innings. Sandy Pages homered, and the L.A. Dodgers beat the Seattle Mariners 4-2 last night. The only hit allowed by Lauer was a single to Cole Young in the third. The Mariners and Dodgers wrap up the series tonight. We take the air at 6 o'clock here on KONP, brought to you by Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales.
Miss, your burger is served.
Thank you.
And if I may suggest a pairing, this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. The sweetness of Pepsi perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger, while the citrus and carbonation elevates the taste for a truly stunning flavor profile. Bon appetit.
Now that is one perfect combination. If this is how the other half lives, I could get used to this. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Need a new roof? Save big with Tri-State Roofing. For a limited time, mention promo code KONP50 and get 50% off new gutters with your new roof or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. Protect your home with expert installation, quality materials, and a team you can trust. Financing available. Tri-State Roofing, 360-208-2222 and mention KONP50.
State Roofing, we got you covered.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A snapback rally today on Wall Street, especially with tech, and that is thanks in large part to Microsoft. Shares are up significantly after its earnings showed investors it's really starting to see returns on all the billions it's been spending on artificial intelligence. Starbucks also getting some attention. That's after an earnings beat and an upbeat outlook. Another setback, though, in housing. Home prices still rising. Just this week, though, average long-term mortgage rates hit 6.66%. That's the highest level in a year, according to Freddie Mac, as the war in Iran and higher oil prices keep inflation stubbornly high. And watch for bargain airfares to become extinct. Airlines are now adopting AI to change seat prices more quickly by weighing dozens of variables in real time. That's helping capture more revenue while shrinking pricing gaps between the airlines and discount airlines. That could lead to higher fares on busy routes, but could also result in lower fares on off-peak and lower demand routes. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
Right now at Angelus Furniture, you'll see big savings on Stressless by Eckernes. Receive $100 off for every $1,000 spent on qualifying stressless seating, or save $50 on each stressless dining or home office chair. Whatever it is that you're looking for, we're confident you'll find it with the help of our stressless experts. The most innovative seating on the market today is worth every penny. Offer valid now through August 10th, only at Angelus Furniture.
LS Tractor. Do more for less. More standard features, more capacity, and more operator comfort. LS Tractor gives you more. A comprehensive warranty and more PTO horsepower. Do more on your farm, ranch, or acreage. Mow it, grade it, till it, or move it. Stop by your local participating dealer and join the growing LS Tractor family today.
Find the perfect LS tractor for you at Leets Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated, call Leets at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor, simply more.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
Let's head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now. And that is where Steve's standing by with an eye on the roads for us this noon hour now. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, kind of a busy afternoon. If you're in traffic right now, you're going to see a lot of it coming through the Port Angeles Squim area. Things moving along reasonably well, a little bit below the speed limit. Some delays at the lights, but overall, you should be just fine. Highway 101 between the two cities the same way. It's pretty busy out there, especially between the Port Angeles city limits down through Morris Creek. Once you're through that, though, you're just fine, and should be no problem getting to Squim. Beyond that, we're good with the Hood Canal Bridge. No scheduled marine openings, and State Ferry is also running on time today. West End traffic, we're looking good all the way out to the Forks area. Just light to moderate traffic out there and things moving along at the speed limit. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. Your weather forecast calling for sunshine to continue the rest of the day today. Highs mid-60s, maybe about 70. Clear tonight. Lows in the upper 40s to mid-50s. Another sunny day on the way for Friday with highs in the 70s. But as we head towards Saturday, we roll some rain in at times. And mainly in the morning hours, but could see up to a quarter inch of rain possible in some spots. Highs in the upper 60s. Light winds to start out on Saturday, then switching to west and picking up to 20 miles per hour in the afternoon, gusting to 30 to 35 miles per hour on Saturday afternoon. Right now, though, very pleasant out there. 61 in Port Townsend, 68 out west at Forks. It's 67 in Squim, and out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles, officially 64 degrees.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
If you're looking to get stronger, you don't necessarily need a bunch of heavy weights to do that, at least not to start. Body weight workouts, when you do them the right way, can be really effective. Strength and conditioning specialist Dana Santis told us, with body weight training, you create progressive overload by changing joint angles, adding instability, or choosing more challenging variations of the same exercise. Two other factors driving progressive overload are time under tension and muscular fatigue. That means the amount of time your muscles are engaged during a movement, the slower the movement, the harder it will be until you reach the point where you can't do another rep with good form. You want to stop before you collapse. Also, remember this, pay attention to your breath. So important. Breathe out when you exert force. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, upgrade to a Tempur-Pedic and learn how you can get 3% back plus an instant gift. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. We've all heard the song Yankee Doodle Dandy. We've sung it hundreds, maybe thousands of times. It's a great patriotic song. But did you know that it was originally sung by the British soldiers to mock us? I'll tell you that story after this important message.
Hello, Jerry Stewart here to find out how you're doing with your own Calitrin plan. Kelly and I are doing great. We're still on our 3-month start plan, and all is going so well. Let me give you a few points about the plan to help encourage you. First, you might be thinking, I've got so much each day to do. Can I really keep up with another pill plan? Well, one thing I like about this pill plan is that you only take one dose of 4 pills every night, just before going to bed. Or you may not like having another plan measured by weight loss. On Calitrin, the weight loss will come, but that's not your measure. The real measure is, I feel like myself again. I like that. So contact them now at toploss.com or call 833-TOP-LOSS to start the plan and enjoy the difference. Come join us and let's work on this together. Calitrin.
Today we sing Yankee Doodle, and we're proud to sing it, but originally the British sang it to make fun of the colonists. They loved to mock what they called the shabby American troops. For example, a doodle is another word for a nitwit, not very complimentary. And when that Yankee Doodle stuck the feather in his hat and called it macaroni, macaroni was a slang for a young man all dressed up with nowhere special to go. So what happened? The Patriots embraced the song, made it their own, even added more verses which encouraged them to fight on. And one other thing, they sang that song to the British soldiers during their final surrender. Very interesting. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
Looking for the perfect place to enjoy your next chapter? Come tour Lavender Meadows in Sequim, featuring beautiful, affordable homes for active 55-plus living. Enjoy modern, low-maintenance living, plus pickleball courts, a community garden, and clubhouse gatherings.
Hey folks, this is Courtney over at Lavender Meadows. We hope to see you soon to check out our 8 new floor plans. Don't forget to ask us about our lease-to-own options.
Come home to Lavender Meadows. Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
This Thursday, we talk business with our Business Bits. Small business advisor Kevin Holt joins us with some practical tips and advice to help local businesses succeed, whether you're just getting started or looking to grow. That's this afternoon on the TO Show.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
In a world where prices keep climbing and uncertainty seems to change by the hour, local businesses are carrying a lot. And here at KONP, we see that. For more than 80 years, KONP has been part of this community. We've celebrated your grand openings, shared your stories, and helped local businesses connect with local people. Because when our businesses succeed, our community shines a little brighter. Marketing shouldn't feel overwhelming. It should feel like having a trusted partner in your corner. That's where we come in. Whether your budget is big, small, or somewhere in between, we can create a marketing plan built around your goals, your customers, and your needs, reaching your customers immediately, right here at home. Don't go it alone. Let's sit down, get creative, and grow together. KONP Radio, proudly serving our community and the businesses that keep it moving. Call us at 360-457-1450, and let's partner up.
News this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The White House is encouraging veterans who drove large military vehicles to consider a career in trucking. The president held an event to highlight the campaign at the White House this afternoon to get more American drivers in the ranks. He says there are dire consequences to allowing illegal immigrants to drive commercial vehicles.
Just a few weeks ago, a Pennsylvania state trooper was killed by an illegal alien from Haiti driving a semi-truck. He was let in by Joe Biden and the open border policy of the Biden administration. By the way, today we have the safest border in the history of our country.
Attracting more veterans to trucking will help replace immigrant drivers who lost their commercial driver's licenses during the president's recent crackdown over the past year. The economy showed clear signs of resilience in the second quarter.
The Commerce Department reported that gross domestic product expanded at a 1.5% annual pace from April through June, a deceleration from the 2.1% rate in the first quarter of 2026. The figure also came in below what many economists expected. Imports were a major drag on growth, reflecting heavier demand for goods sourced from abroad.
That is correspondent Bernie Bennett on Wall Street right now. The Dow is up 590 points. A first-of-its-kind CDC study finds deadly mold infections more common.
About 450 cases in Atlanta area hospitals over 5 years, and about a third of the patients died in the hospital. The study found hospitals can expect to see 3 to 5 cases per year for every 100 inpatient beds. Senior study author Dr. Jeremy Gold says it's important to understand because the problem may grow in the future as more people are exposed to mold in the wake of natural disasters influenced by climate change. Infections are especially dangerous for the elderly and patients with weakened immune systems. The study highlights the need for hospitals to be aware of potential cases, especially in areas prone to mold problems. I'm Jennifer King.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Christian Healthcare Ministries is not another health insurance policy. If you're tired of year-long contracts and pointless restrictions, CHM offers anytime enrollment on your schedule and at your convenience. With CHM, you're paying half the cost of a traditional health insurance plan. So that puts more money back into your budget for everyday needs. Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
The average long-term U.S. mortgage rate rose for the fourth consecutive week to its highest level in a year. Another setback for prospective home buyers hoping for a break from the elevated home loan borrowing costs. The rate now for the 30-year fixed rate up to 6.66%. There's been a tragic drowning in the state of New Jersey. We get more from correspondent Lisa Dwyer.
One child has died and another is missing after the two 10-year-olds went into a rain-swollen New Jersey river. An 11-year-old survived. The local mayor says the girl's life might have been saved by her brother, one of the 10-year-olds who drowned, saying that as he was going under, he pushed her and she ended up on the rocks and was able to climb up. The other 10-year-old, a girl, is still missing. An adult male tried to help save them, but had to turn back due to high water and strong current. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
You'll find more on these stories, breaking news, and analysis at townhall.com. 15 elephants in Kenya have died of cyanide poisoning after eating tomatoes from nearby farms.
Over a dozen elephants have died within a month in Kenya after eating cyanide-contaminated tomatoes, according to wildlife authorities. 15 elephants in southern Kenya from Amboseli National Park died after eating the tomatoes from nearby farms. Authorities did not specify who might be responsible for the contamination. However, in the past, farmers have been suspected of poisoning elephants to protect their crops. The park in southern Kenya borders an area where farming and the raising of livestock are prevalent. The Kenyan Wildlife Service warns that the contamination could affect local livestock grazing in the area. I'm Karen Chemas.
Soldiers and emergency workers continue to comb through the badly damaged shopping mall and collapsed houses looking for trapped survivors after an earthquake that killed at least 18 people this week. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
This is the Peninsula's Morning News.
Todd Ortlife for the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Thursday, July 30th. Port of Port Angeles looking for ways to cut some costs and bring in new business after falling more than $1 million short of its operating revenue projections through the first half of the year. Commissioners learned this week the port's about $1.09 million behind budget, with the biggest losses coming at the marine terminal. Officials say fewer chip barges and fewer days in port for the cable innovator have led to a sharp drop in activity there. Here's Commissioner Connie Beauvais.
And what are we doing to bring in more business? And when do we expect it? Because we cannot continue at this rate.
In response, port leaders have directed departments to identify more cost-saving measures, review vacant positions, and step up efforts to recruit new business. CEO Paul Jarkowitz told commissioners the issue is not overspending. It's that revenue simply isn't keeping up with expectations.
So year-to-date operating revenues are, for all intents and purposes, $1.09 million below budget. The primary issue is revenue performance, not overall expense control. And then the total direct expenses are slightly favorable to budget overall.
Marine terminal revenues are nearly 50% below budget, while expenses are about 16% lower than expected. Commissioners also heard that log yard volumes are down to roughly 1/4 of what they were just a year ago. Port staff are now updating their financial forecast for the rest of the year and expect to present commissioners with some revised year-end projections next month. Peninsula Behavioral Health has officially opened its new Northview Supportive Housing Community overlooking downtown Port Angeles. Community leaders gathered this week for a ribbon-cutting ceremony at the 4-story, 36-unit complex. It's at the corner of 2nd and Oak Streets. The first residents expected to move in September. The building will provide affordable housing for adults with serious behavioral health needs who are experiencing homelessness or are at risk of losing housing. Residents will also have access to on-site behavioral health and support services designed to help them maintain long-term housing stability. The $12 million project includes studio, 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, community gathering space, laundry facilities, on-site management, and it is pet-friendly. Northview is Peninsula Behavioral Health's second permanent supportive housing development in Port Angeles, following the opening of the Dawn View Court in 2023. The project was funded through a partnership of state, county, and city governments, along with foundations, businesses, and some private donations, as PBH continues trying to expand housing and behavioral health services throughout the county. The union that represents Clallam County firefighters is calling attention to an issue many of us have probably never thought about: the sometimes severe health risks associated with chronic stress that's brought on by outdated station alerting systems. The systems are loud, jarring, and lack modern features, such as the ability to alert only the unit that needs to be dispatched. Instead, the whole station house is awakened on every call. The problem tragically illustrated in January 2023 when 46-year-old Captain Chad Cate was discovered deceased in his bunk at Firehouse 34 in Sequim. It was later determined that Cate died of cardiac arrest after returning from a house fire call. But there might be a solution, or at least some help. The Clallam County Professional Firefighters Local 2933 is hailing Clallam Fire District 3's purchase of a new modern station alerting system designed by Locution Systems. It delivers systems with the latest technology, such as heart saver tones, revamped audio and visual alerts, smaller directional speakers to provide clearer audio at lower levels than large speakers, and zoned alerting to avoid awakening first responders unnecessarily. And even the dispatcher's voice can be automated with a choice of multiple voices.
Truck 10 Alpha Response, Commercial Structure Fire, Holiday Inn Express, 608 Fremont Court, Cross of Palo Verde. Repeat, Truck 10 Alpha Response.
Clallam 3 Fire Chief Justin Greider tells KONP that the new tech has been purchased, but it will take some time to get it fully implemented.
There's the system itself that gets built into the dispatch center and with PENCOM, which takes coordination and contracts and ILAs and making sure that they have the space for us to have that piece. There's the hardware that's in the stations that does the annunciation and the picking of units and the station alerting and lighting. So we've got a contractor identified for that. And we've got the software with Locution to provide the software. And now we're looking for storage racks for the system hardware that supports that system.
Clallam 3 will be the first district to have this technology, but Chief Greider says it stands to reason that once they do the heavy lift of coordinating the system with PENCOM, other districts, if they choose to purchase the system, should be able to tie in with less effort. More news after this.
Olympic Hot Tub has terrific ways to achieve total wellness at home. Saltwater hot tubs, swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges, all waiting for you. You'll be saying, ah, in no time. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Need a new roof? Save big with Tri-State Roofing. For a limited time, mention promo code KONP50 and get 50% off new gutters with your new roof or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. Protect your home with expert installation, quality materials, and a team you can trust. Financing available. Tri-State Roofing, 360-208-2222 and mention KONP50.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered. I'm Sophia with Clallam County PUD.
And I'm Michaela.
Sometimes a small act of kindness can make a big difference.
Especially for neighbors who may be struggling to keep up with their electric bill.
That's where our Neighborly Assistance Program comes in.
It connects community donations directly to local families who need a helping hand.
Every dollar goes to trusted local agencies into our Power Pledge Fund. You can give once or set up a monthly donation of any amount you wish to give. Learn more at clallampud.net.
In other news, Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes has been fired by Mayor Katie Wilson after declining the option to resign. That according to multiple reports now. Barnes had served as chief for about a year. The dismissal came hours after Barnes attended a vigil for victims of the Bite of Seattle mass shooting before leaving for a meeting with the mayor. He also canceled a scheduled TV interview about the shooting and questions surrounding his time away from the city. Washington State seeking about $76 million in federal reimbursement for highway repairs following last December's historic flooding. Most of the money expected to come from the Federal Highway Administration, but state officials say reimbursement could take years. The request is separate from other federal disaster aid already approved for infrastructure repairs and assistance to flood victims. The largest share of this request involves Highway 2, where flood damage forced a more than 2-week closure between Skykomish and Leavenworth after sections of the road collapsed. The state seeking about $16 million for emergency repairs and another $16 million for permanent restoration. The funding request also includes repairs to I-90, State Route 20, State Route 410, Highway 12 near Natchez, State Route 542, as well as Highway 101 near Forks here on the Olympic Peninsula. And Washington's 3 law schools are urging the state Supreme Court to grant diploma privilege to 645 graduates after this week's bar exam was canceled because of widespread technology problems. The deans of Seattle University, University of Washington, and Gonzaga say licensing the graduates without requiring another exam is the fairest solution, pointing to the financial costs. The State Bar Association has offered a makeup exam in September, but the schools argue that would still postpone jobs and income for many graduates. The Supreme Court granted diploma privilege to hundreds of graduates during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the justices are now considering whether they'll do that again. This is News Radio KONP.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down. That's where Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan & Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Hi, this is Joe with Spudbreakers Baked and Loaded Spuds. We're all digging in Tuesday through Sunday with new late hours Friday and Saturday. Online orders and delivery available, or come to the trailer located on the corner of 8th and Lincoln, Port Angeles. Try our 2-pound overloaded spud or the new smoked beef brisket mac and cheese option, the one and done.
If you love
all my exes live in Texas.
If you love
Ain't going down till the sun comes up. Ain't giving in till they get enough.
If you love
a little bit of chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday night,
then you'll love The Straight 102.
It's your love, it just does something to me.
Country music's most iconic stars play here. The Straight 102.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 65. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 52 tonight, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 70 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Temperatures a bit below average Saturday and Sunday with highs in the low 60s. Rain likely Saturday. A peek at the extended shows, 68 Monday, 73 Tuesday, and 72 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 64 degrees.
All right. right, currently series tied between the Seattle Mariners and LA Dodgers. They'll wrap it up tonight. Mariners still have a chance at winning a series against the tough Dodgers with a win tonight. We'll take the air at 6 o'clock for the pregame. First pitch about 7:10 here on KONP, brought to you by Leith's Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Now with the rest of the sports, we check in with Robert Workman.
With the baseball trade deadline less than a week away on Monday, Tigers ace Tarek Skubal made what could be his final start in Detroit yesterday, holding the Orioles scoreless into the 7th inning. But Baltimore came back from down 7-0 to tame the Tigers 10-9 in 12 innings. The Birds got into the Motown bullpen for 5 runs in the 7th, tied it on Kobe Mayo's 2-run triple in the 8th, and finally nailed it down in extras. The White Sox shook off an early 4-run deficit and ran down the Yankees 6-5 in 12 innings. Marlins came out of a 6-0 hole to noodle the Phillies 8-6. Cardinals and Cubs were scoreless through 9 innings. Pete Crow Armstrong homered to give Chicago the lead in the top of the 10th, but Ivan Herrera's 2-run double gave St. Louis the 3-2 win. Mets and Braves split a pair. New York took the day game 3-2. Atlanta won the nightcap 1-0 behind Chris Sale's combo 2-hitter. Rays shut out the Rangers 3-0. Yandy Diaz and Ryan Valade homered in the first inning. Then 5 pitchers tossed a combined 4-hitter. Royals blanked the Twins 4-0. A 5-hitter for Randy Dobnak and friends. His first big league win since 2021 when he was with Minnesota. Diamondbacks sank the Pirates 3-0. Eduardo Rodriguez went the first 8 for his 10th win. Giants barreled over the Brewers 16-3. Luis Arraez with 4 of San Francisco's 17 hits. Daniel Susac hit his first home run in the big leagues. And his second. Good on you, Meat. Red Sox topped the A's 4-2 on Andrew Monasterio's homer in the 10th inning. Guardians ripped the Reds 6-1 to win the Ohio State Series. Blue Jays swatted the Nationals. Padres down the Rockies. Dodgers doubled up the Mariners. And the Astros got by the Angels. That's Thursday Sports.
Hello, Clallam County. This is Danny with Harper Ridgeview and Squim Valley Funeral Chapels. I recently had the opportunity to assist a very elderly but very energetic woman here in our county. She had in her possession her husband's remains, who had passed years prior. She sent us a letter asking if we could help her pre-need funeral and cemetery services for herself and her deceased husband. She'd been stressing and worrying for far too long, wondering what would happen when she passed. It was such a joy to help her finalize her plans. It was so easy, too. She expressed to me over and over such feelings of peace and relief now that all that was taken care of. So let us help you today to achieve that same peace of mind by planning ahead, even if it is a simple plan. We're here to serve you. Harper Ridgeview and Squim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
This Thursday, we talk business with our Business Bits. Small business advisor Kevin Hull joins us with some practical tips and advice to help local businesses succeed, whether you're just getting started or looking to grow. That's this afternoon on the TO Show.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
Ever drive by Jungle Jane's and Squim and think, wow, those greenhouses are gorgeous? Well, guess what? There's more jungle magic inside. Step through the doors and you'll find a treasure trove of home decor. Lamps that glow like tropical sunsets, cozy pillows, stylish kitchenware, and pieces from local artisans that'll make your home roar with personality. Jungle Jane's isn't just outdoor glam, it's indoor decor paradise in disguise. Shop Jungle Jane's in Squim on the roundabout by Costco.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Gains for stocks on Wall Street today. Microsoft shares surging on stronger than expected AI-related business activity. Crude oil prices gaining in recent weeks as the U.S.-Iran war widens, but now Energy Secretary Chris Wright says don't expect the U.S. to release another round of reserves to keep oil prices from gaining. Walt Disney's new boss gets a lot of credit for making theme parks the envy of the business. Now he's looking to duplicate that Disney magic with video streaming, overhauling Disney Plus into a portal that brings together Hulu, ESPN, and its movie library. It's also rolling out features including a better recommendation algorithm and vertical videos it hopes will lead to more frequent and longer viewer engagement. And Starbucks and Chipotle have tweaked menus and rewards to win over diners, and it's working. Two chains raising their sales guidance thanks to new menu items and revamped loyalty programs. Apparently, Starbucks chicken wraps and iced fruit drinks are an especially big hit. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
Get a last check in the noontime traffic, brought to you by McCrory Carpet One and Olympic Medical Center.
They say money can't buy happiness, but have you ever walked across brand new floors in your socks? McCrory Carpet One's huge summer clearance sale is proof that happiness is surprisingly affordable. Prices start at just $1 a square foot with 50,000 square feet of in-stock flooring ready for installation. Carpet, luxury vinyl, hardwood, if it's on the floor, it's priced to leave the store. Prices so low, they'll knock your socks off. Thank goodness you now have nice floors from McCrory Carpet One.
Are you living with hip pain and wondering if it's time to do something about it? Join Olympic Medical Center orthopedic surgeon Dr. Thomas Hirschmiller for a free community presentation on hip pain and when surgery might be the right next step. Join us Thursday, August 20th at 5:30 p.m. in the Medical Services Building in Sequim. It's free, open to the public, and right in our community. Save the date and learn more at olympicmedical.org/events.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
All right, one last time this hour up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go, and that is where Steve is standing by watching the noontime traffic for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, we're moving along reasonably well out there. If you're in either Port Angeles or Sequim, a lot of traffic out there right now. Pretty close to the speed limit all the way through town. You're going to find some slowdowns and delays at the lights, but overall, really not horribly bad to make your way around town, either Port Angeles or Sequim. If you're on the highway between the two cities, things moving along reasonably well out there. A little slow through our construction area, Lee's Creek and Baker Dip area, pretty much all the way out to the Morris Creek area. Once you're through that, though, you should be just fine right up to the speed limit all the way into Sequim. Beyond the Sequim area, Hood Canal Bridge just went through a surprise closing, so just for marine traffic coming through, so just be aware of that. A little bit of a holdup out there on 104, but it should be clear by the time you get there. State ferries are running on time today, though. West End traffic, we're in good shape all the way out to the Forks area. Really no issues out there. It's fairly busy between Port Angeles and Lake Crescent area, but beyond that, things moving along right at the speed limit. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. Again, the weather, sunny the rest of the day today. We're going to hit about 70. Clear tonight. Lows will be about 50 tonight, overnight. Sunny tomorrow and highs in the 70s. But Saturday, yeah, things change. Cloudy and rainy. Maybe a couple of sunbreaks in the afternoon. And look for highs to be mid-60s to low 70s. And wind's going to pick up out of the west with gusts to over 30 miles per hour in the afternoon on Saturday. Right now, though, it's pretty pleasant across the peninsula. 63 in Port Townsend, 71 out west at Forks. Sequim now at 64, and it's also 64 degrees out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles. Now, more Americans facing foreclosure scams. Here's ABC's Perry Russum with an explanation.
We found that foreclosure filing spiked 21% in the first 6 months of this year compared to the same time last year. So one big reason for that is the pandemic. So not many homes were going into foreclosure during the pandemic because there are different programs to make sure people were staying in their homes. Now those programs are gone, so foreclosures are spiking. And when we're seeing this rise in foreclosures, officials said there's also this rise in alleged schemes taking place all across the country.
Now, here's some things Americans wish the U.S. would adopt from other parts of the world, at least what the internet thinks. Bullet trains, public toilet stalls with walls and a door that go all the way down to the floor. Taxes included in the advertised price, so you don't have to figure it out at the check stand. Mandatory month-long vacations. And according to the internet, we Americans want traffic lights that warn you when red is going to change to green. So you're not sitting there looking kind of foolish. And one other note, between 14 and 18% of pet owners now mention their pets in their wills. Kim Commando's Consumer Tech Minute is next.
This past Tuesday, the Federal Communication Commission banned the import and sale in America of all foreign-made humanoid and quadruped robots. The reason sounds very much like a science fiction novel. I'm Kim Commando for WebRoot. WebRoot Essentials Antivirus protects your devices without slowing you down. right now. Get 62% off at webroot.com/Kim. 22 years ago this month, the sci-fi film I, Robot was showing in theaters across America. Millions of humanoid robots, many working in private homes, receive a signal to rebel and hold the human race hostage. But that was fiction. So what's our government concerned about? Well, the FCC believes that foreign-made humanoid robots are a national security threat. And when I say foreign-made, it's China. The worry is that in the event of hostilities between us and China, with a flick of a switch, Chinese-made robots could become a severe problem. So, yes, our government is correct. And besides, we're manufacturing our own robots right now. Join a million folks and get my free newsletter at getkim.com. I've tried a lot of antivirus software over the years, and when something better comes along, I switch. That's why I've moved to WebRoot Essentials. WebRoot Essentials is a cloud-based AI-powered antivirus app that was designed to evolve with today's threats. It's fast, lightweight protection that works across all my devices without slowing me down. If you need another reason to switch, get this. WebRoot Essentials recently ranked #1 in independent Passmark performance studies against 9 other brands, like Norton, McAfee, and even Microsoft Defender. The study found that WebRoot Essentials scans 6 times faster, uses far less memory, and takes up 33% less space on your computer. I've seen the difference WebRoot has made for my devices, and now you can too. My listeners get 62% off WebRoot Essentials at webroot.com/Kim. Get the #1 ranked antivirus protection for just $19 a year right now at webroot.com/Kim. Webroot.com/Kim. Go now while you're thinking about it. Webroot.com/Kim.
I'm John Tesh, and coming up, there are some beverages that can not only help you lose weight, they'll speed up the process. I'll give you 3 things to drink next in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I took the gas hose out of my car's tank. Ooh, not smart. And I drove off while still attached to pump number 3.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Research shows there are some beverages that can not only help you lose weight, they'll actually speed up the process so pounds melt away faster. Here's what to start sipping according to weight loss and gut health expert Dr. Vincent Pedre. First, drink peppermint iced tea. When you add mint leaves to a glass of iced tea, Dr. Pedre says it wakes up your brain in a way that makes you feel more satisfied, so you'll feel full sooner and eat less overall. You'll also get slimmer sipping apple cider vinegar. The acids in vinegar suppress your appetite. In fact, in one study, people consume nearly 300 fewer calories per day after sipping apple cider vinegar. And then you'll lose fat faster drinking black coffee. Coffee forces our white fat cells to release fat and calories, boosting our metabolism. Mint iced tea, apple cider vinegar, and black coffee. I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Since 2011, Grocery Outlet has held their annual Independence from Hunger food drive every July. Head to Grocery Outlet in Port Angeles from now through the end of the month to partake in their 16th annual Independence from Hunger food drive. All proceeds are distributed directly to the Port Angeles Food Bank as well as the PA School District Food Insecurity Program. There are several different ways to participate. Donate $5 or more in a single transaction and receive a coupon for $5 off a future purchase of $25 or more. Purchase a pre-made bag of groceries to be put in the collection bin at the store, or donate online by visiting groceryoutlet.com/donate and choosing the Port Angeles store. Support our locally owned and operated grocery outlet right here in Port Angeles as they support our community. Follow them on Facebook at Port Angeles Grocery Outlet to learn more. Located on East Highway 101. Grocery Outlet Bargain Market.
The North Olympic Peninsula's news station. News Radio KONP Port Angeles Squim. AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3. A Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. The FBI says it's aware of cyber attacks this week at more than 30 water plants across Minnesota. It does not confirm suspicions by some state and local investigators that Iranian hackers are to blame. As Iran and the U.S. intensify attacks on each other's forces, other Gulf nations are fending off more missiles. ABC's Matt Rivers in Jordan.
When we're talking about regional escalation, these other countries might get dragged in simply as this conflict goes on. They're often faced with very little choice. Here in Jordan specifically, if you remember in the beginning of the war, going back to late February, March, Jordan really didn't get targeted nearly as much as other countries. I'm thinking of the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Bahrain. Those were the countries in the region that were getting hit a lot more frequently. Now, since the ceasefire really was shattered a few weeks ago, you have seen Jordan targeted in a way simply it was not before.
Ukraine says that Russia used a North Korean missile for the first time in their latest strikes. What a difference a day makes on Wall Street. After a sell-off yesterday that was the biggest in over a year, the Dow up at the closing bell, 615 points, recovering more than half of its losses. President Trump may pull Todd Blanche's nomination for Attorney General to avoid conceding to Senate Republicans who want limits on the IRS immunity that he negotiated for himself and his family. Mandela Barnes dropping out of the Democratic primary for Wisconsin governor, shaking up that race less than 2 weeks before the election. A Georgia father is going to prison for ignoring warning signs before his son killed 4 people at Appalachia High School in Georgia in 2024. Judge Nicholas Prim giving the father, Colin Gray, 15 years.
But for you failing to get Konp help, but for your failure to remove access to the guns, this doesn't happen. September 4th would have been a normal day.
The son used a rifle his dad gave him for Christmas to carry out the murders. You're listening to ABC News.
As we celebrate 250 years of freedom, freedom to govern ourselves, freedom to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, let me ask you a question. What does financial freedom look like today, and do you have it? Because it looks like insulation from inflation. It looks like a hedge against global instability and global divestment from the US dollar. It looks a lot like owning physical gold. It's Stephen Gardner for Monetary Gold, who have been helping Americans diversify with gold for the past 26 years. Did you know you can own physical gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account? Learn how with a free copy of Gold in Modern America from Monetary Gold. Claim it at StephenLovesGold.com. Find freedom with gold. Visit StephenLovesGold.com or call 800-608-1770 for a one-on-one consultation. Claim your free guide at StephenLovesGold.com or call 800-608-1770. Performance may vary. Consult your tax and financial professional.
The census says that 12 million Americans moved in 2024, most inside their home states. As for the rest, here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
U-Haul is out with its mid-year statistics on who's moving where based on one-way rentals of trucks and trailers. Baby boomers are flocking to the Carolinas, according to the moving company, while millennials and members of Gen X are headed to Texas and Florida. And Gen Z, people born between 1997 and 2012, U-Haul says New York City was their top destination in the past year.
Floodwaters that claimed lives in the Northeast, where searches are still underway, should soon be receding, says ABC meteorologist Leslie Lopez.
We still have some rain in some of these areas. Now, I will say that most of the rain is much lighter, and the low pressure center that had been pushing in all that heavy rain is exiting out of the area. So the good news is we're going to start to see those floodwaters recede.
A search is on for a 10-year-old girl missing in the Passaic River in New Jersey. Searchers found the body of a boy of the same age. His 11-year-old sister was rescued. There will soon be a new way to get your food delivered faster from the air. DoorDash just now got approval from the FAA to begin its own drone delivery service. DoorDash will be building its own aircraft to deliver the food or whatever is ordered. There is no timeline just yet on when this service will be operational. Getting food from the air must seem like a dream come true for so many people. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
As each season changes, one thing stays the same. Airport Garden Center is always here to help your yard and garden grow. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The family-run operation continues with Mark and Betsy Matthews passionately managing the business to this day. Their family provides your family quality service, products, and expert advice for a fun, rewarding, pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. We love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings too. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials and seasonal classes and events, or just stop on by our spacious indoor-outdoor garden center on Edgewood Drive in Port Angeles to chat with the experts. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Port Angeles looking for more ways to cut costs after falling about $1.1 million behind in its operating revenue projections through the first half of this year. Officials say reduced marine terminal activities, the big cause. Department's now reviewing vacancies and other savings and also ways to bring in more business. Peninsula Behavioral Health has opened Northview. It's a new 36-unit permanent supportive housing complex at 2nd and Oak Streets in Port Angeles. The first residents for those studio, 1- and 2-bedroom apartments expected to move in sometime in September.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. 65 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies. Northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, lows around 52. Tomorrow, 70. Rain likely Saturday, highs around 64. 62, sunshine mixed with clouds at times Sunday. A peek at the extended shows 68 Monday, 73 Tuesday, and 72 on Wednesday. To recap, high of 65 today, we should dip down to around 52 tonight, a high of 70 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 65.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome once again to the program. I'm going to shuffle things up a little bit. We're getting a little extra time today by putting our business bits in the first segment today because, well, we can do that. It's my show.
We're shuffling.
Right. So Kevin Holt, our business guru, is in. He's all about the thief of joy.
Yes.
Today, and business myths, at least, that will steal your joy is our topic. And as always, our business bit segment is really, yes, it's for people who are interested in being in a business, running a business, things, but you will soon find out that they really do affect all of us who
sometimes
interact with a business.
That's right. It's even for people who care about people that are involved in business.
You go. So let's get to it. This is going to be, so you're going to start with gig work.
That's right.
One of our favorite topics.
Well, and it keeps coming back throughout our talk today. And it is all about joy in this wonderful time that we live. So, we have spoken often about the myth of gig work, the promise of independence, flexible work schedule, and $25 an hour. The truth is, you become a slave to the app. You work when the app tells you to work. You make 1/3 of what they promised you. And worse, you're so tired and distracted and manipulated that it's hard to find a way out. You've been miffed. And when you've been miffed, you find doors closing all around you instead of opening. Now, let's look at myths in another industry, mine. The cosmetology industry is riddled with joy-stealing myths. Hairdressers, estheticians, massage therapists, and manicurists. These licensed professionals are told these myths from the first day of cosmetology school. Like many myths, this myth-making is well-intentioned. And cosmetology school instructors care about their students. They want to see them succeed. These well-intentioned people want to protect their students. They warn of abuses they have personally experienced or heard about. Unfortunately, these instructors are depending on old news. Those experiences predate Washington State's recent labor law and worker rights updates. And boy, don't we know we got them.
Yeah, okay.
Back in 2016, 10 years ago now, workers enjoyed few protections and even fewer benefits. My, how times have changed, completely.
Mm-hmm.
In the past 10 years, our legislature has flipped the script like no other state in U.S. history. Let's look at how that's impacted the cosmetology industry's myths and misunderstandings. The first myth to address is the biggest and the most dangerous myth in our industry. Cosmetology students are told this myth throughout their education. This myth is that the only way to be successful in this industry is to rent a booth or a table, to operate as an independent contractor, to run their own independent business. Well, let's deprogram that myth.
Okay, all right, yeah.
The independent contractor myth is well intended. The instructors are concerned about those pre-2016 abuses that sadly were very real, and we'll talk about those in a minute. In 2026, that myth has some serious flaws. Booth and table renters become independent contractors for freedom and protection from abuse. Thanks to our new labor laws and worker rights, you can now get more freedom and protection as a W-2 employee.
Mm-hmm.
The first flaw in that old myth is that beauty professionals are simply told to run their own business. These practitioners weren't given any guidance on taxes, the costs, the risks, or the responsibilities of being a small business owner. Those come as unwelcome surprises later on. Yeah.
And it's not just a cosmetologist,
No.
by the way. There's a lot of professional service types.
Absolutely.
Lawyers, doctors.
Yep.
Taxes? I've never learned about that in school.
I had many of those professionals as clients because their accountant would say, you got to go talk to somebody about how to run a business because
you might be the world's greatest doctor, but you have not a clue how to run a business.
Exactly.
Right.
There's an old cartoon where there's an attorney sitting with the Super Friends saying, how are you guys paying rent on this place? And I remember that. That's very funny. The myth of being an independent contractor is also no longer relevant. Because of changes in the law, there's no such thing as an independent contractor. And we've talked about that many times. According to Labor and Industries, there are only employees and business owners. We've discussed the business owner test in the past. When you're operating inside another business, you must pass 7 subtests, and they are very strict. But let's put that aside. Let's assume booth and table renters are complying with the business owner test. You're probably not, but we're going to assume it. And let's compare that to being a W-2 employee. The first comparison is a minor matter for massage therapists, a bigger deal for hairdressers, and a huge deal for estheticians and manicurists. Booth and table renters must, by law, buy all their own equipment, tools, and supplies. That's what they don't tell you in cosmetology school when you're having the freedom of running your own business. You're also paying your own bills. And by the way, any use of an associated business's resources creates big risk. That can make the table renter an employee of the associated business in the eyes of the law, and that's not good. Now, the worker will never be penalized for that. In the state of Washington, it's always the associated business's responsibility. And the surprises awaiting that associated business is, oh, you've misclassified this person as an independent contractor. We've decided they're an employee. So what you need to do is give us all their schedules, all their receipts, and we're going to figure out how much you need to pay for employment security, labor and industries, paid family and medical leave, Washington CARES Act. Yeah, it gets ugly fast. That is not good. Now, let's talk about W-2 employees when we get back from what Todd has to tell you right now.
All right, we'll be back more on the Business Bit segment coming up.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
And now a word from our friends at the Eagles Club in Port Angeles. They welcome new members every day. Be part of the club with some fantastic membership perks right now, like discounted cover charges for events, live music, discounted facility rental, a whole lot more. The friendly faces behind the bar will greet you with foods and snack options every day, and you'll always feel like you're right at home when you step inside the Eagles Club. They offer something for everyone. Poker on Tuesdays with a $20 buy-in. Just bring a member to sign you in. And stop by on Wednesday and experience the Imperfectionist Music Jam session. That's free with an Eagles member to sign you in as well. On Thursdays, pop on by for Barstool Bingo at 6 p.m. The sales start at 5:30. And Friday, the members-only Queen of Hearts raffle is up to a jackpot of over $30,000. And every Saturday evening, you'll hear some live music from very talented local musicians. Sundays, they serve breakfast to the public from 9:30 till noon. Find out more by becoming an Eagles member today. Stop on by or call 360-452-3344.
Looking for the perfect place to enjoy your next chapter? Come tour Lavender Meadows in Sequim, featuring beautiful, affordable homes for active 55-plus living. Enjoy modern, low-maintenance living, plus pickleball courts, a community garden, and clubhouse gatherings.
Hey folks, this is Courtney over at Lavender Meadows. We hope to see you soon to check out our 8 new floor plans. Don't forget to ask us about our lease-to-own options.
Come home to Lavender Meadows. Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
Bathfitter is celebrating over 42,000 installations in Western Washington. That's 42,000 bathrooms made safer, cleaner, and more stylish. Right now, get free installation and no-interest financing for 24 months on the bathroom of your dreams. Custom-fit tub and shower solutions installed in as little as 1 day with complete removal of your old setup, backed by a lifetime warranty. Visit bathfitternw.com for your free consultation. Special financing for qualified buyers only.
This is James Garlick, Co-Artistic Director of Music on the Straight, inviting you and your family to 2 exciting programs at Field Arts and Events Hall on August 22nd and 30th, featuring MacArthur genius and pianist Jeremy Denk, Grammy-winning Takach String Quartet, Pulitzer Prize-winning composer in residence Gabrielle Alina Frank, and more. Come early for food, drink, and student performances in the Sunset Lounge.
Get your tickets now for breathtaking performances you won't want to miss. Go to musiconthestraight.org.
Sail away to Victoria, BC this summer with Black Ball Ferry Line. A perfect blend of local culture, natural beauty, and world-class attractions. Save with hotel and ferry packages from only $149 per person based on double occupancy. Plus, add on popular attractions like the Butchart Gardens, traditional afternoon tea, and more. Embark on your next adventure with Black Ball Ferry Line. Visit cohoferry.com today.
It's Thursday, and on Thursdays we, when we are not preempted by these rude Mariner games.
And
but
politicians.
we do our business bit segment with our own business guru, Kevin Holt, who, by the way, runs a business next door to us.
It's true.
Which also affords him a chance to talk about
That's
his
right.
business and maybe illustrate some of the things. And that's what he's been talking about today in the world of cosmetology, or a nail salon.
That's
in
right.
your case.
I do speak from experience.
You're right. So let's go. Now we've talked about the 1099. There's no such thing as a contract
Right.
employee anymore, at least in your business.
Well, that's correct. And actually in all businesses. That's the state of Washington major change. There's only businesses and employees. So you're either a business or you're an employee. So if you're trying to be a business, you've got to follow all those rules in the 7-point test, your own tools, your own equipment, pay your own bills. How about a W-2? Well, the opposite of everything we've just talked about is true for W-2 cosmetology professionals. An employer must provide and pay for, and I do, all needed tools, equipment, and supplies. For a manicurist, a bottle of professional quality nail polish costs as much as $25, sometimes more. Clients want lots of colors to choose from, and that polish goes stale and needs to be rotated out. Not something a table renter would want to take on, but they have to. W-2 salon professionals, they get that for free, along with tools and supplies. That goes for any employer salon, hair treatments, appliances, aprons, and gowns for hairdressers. The very expensive equipment and treatments for estheticians. When you're an employee, salon professional, you show up and you do the work you were licensed to do, and you go home.
Mm-hmm.
You're not running your own business, which you weren't prepared to do anyway. Now let's look at working conditions. Booth and table renters are business owners. No protection. They get what they get. Whatever the salon that's leasing to them, well, that's what they get. W-2 employees have legal protections. For example, a minimum level of ventilation and lighting for worker safety. What's the first thing you see when you walk up to the back of our place? That giant fan
exactly.
sucking air out.
That's right, yeah.
I'm biased. My wife works there, so we have 6 times the minimum. But that's one of the things an employer has to provide. How about personal protection equipment like gloves, face masks, and eye protection? Well, those are paid for by the employer if you're a W-2. For example, a box of powder-free, latex-free gloves went from $7 to $25 after the pandemic. Booth and table renters eat that. W-2 employees get it for free by law. Now let's look at some other myths. A big one is that W-2 employees are forced to sign non-compete agreements. These agreements would forbid salon professionals from working in the same town if they quit. Well, that's a myth now because the legislature's made those agreements
You can't have those in Washington State.
unenforceable.
That's right.
Well, you can have them, but you can't do anything with them.
That's right.
Yep. And actually, it's against the law to even get somebody to sign one now. In the bad old days, some employer salons would declare that the customers were the property of the salon. The salon professional's book of business had to stay with the salon if the practitioner left. That practice is also illegal now because it interferes with consumer choice and customer rights. That's you telling me who I can buy nails, services, or haircuts from. You don't get to do that. In the bad old days, some employer salons engaged in wage and tip theft. For example, workers were prevented from going on the clock until a client came in. That is strictly prohibited now.
Yeah. Maybe that's fair because you're sitting there for sometimes an hour.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
You are on the clock the moment you come on the property, and that's the law.
Right.
It's your owner's job to call and get people to come in and get a haircut
get it scheduled
or a massage
right so
or
that
whatever.
you're not
Yep.
sitting there. Right.
It's not the employee's problem. In the old days, salons paid by the hour and took all the client revenue. These days, salons can pay commissions to salon professionals who have a license. The more you do, the more you make. Your income isn't tied to hours worked, but you get overtime if you're kept late or has to come in early.
So this goes back to the old days of the pitch to run your own business.
Yeah.
That's your way of making as much money as you possibly can, but now you can.
Well,
when
that's
you work for somebody
in
else.
theory.
Yeah.
But how much are you making when you're paying your table rent, your supply
Exactly.
costs,
Yeah.
your taxes? You got to do quarterly tax deposits. Yeah.
What it was sold to you is that you're your own boss, so you can
Right.
make as many hours as you want.
Exactly.
Nobody's telling you how much. Yeah, okay.
And again, no employer salon's going to tell you not to do more work because even if you have to pay them overtime, you still do fine.
Right. Okay.
Tips were sometimes skimmed for suspicious reasons. These days, that is specifically prohibited by law. You may not do that under any circumstances. Well, now let's look at benefits. Back when the governor shut down the salon industry for 3 months, employment security coverage meant W-2 salon professionals, they got wage replacement. The girls who worked for me did really well.
Yeah.
Booth and table renters, well, they got nothing. Injured on the job, W-2 employees get workers' medical coverage, workers' comp for workplace injuries. They get paid sick leave, too, 1 hour earned for every 40 hours of work to use any way they want. W-2 salon professionals also get paid family and medical leave. You need to qualify with the state, but you get up to 16 weeks of benefits for things like childbirth, mother care, paternal bonding, and care for family members. Booth and table renters, well, they get none of the above. And we did have an employee who had a baby. She had 16 weeks to have the baby, come home, spend time, bond, relax, rest, recover, and then come back in and get back to work.
So the question, though, is maybe you want to run your own business, and that's the
Sure.
way you started is by this. So what do you say to somebody like that? They eventually want to be like you guys and
Right.
maybe open their own salon on their own at some point.
The question is preparation.
Yeah.
You know, the cosmetology track has nothing that prepares you for that. So if you decide that's what you want to do and you go and gain the skills and knowledge you need, and you don't have to go to school. The Washington provides an enormous amount of entrepreneur support. So if you're working in a salon, maybe you are a table renter and you say, well, I don't want to go to work. I want to start my own business for real. You can go to the Department of Revenue workshops on sales taxes. You can go to L&I workshops on managing employees and all the challenges that requires. You can go on the IRS website. They have wonderful videos for self-employed and small business owners. And if that's your passion, and it is for some people, you can do that.
But I'm telling you right now, from what you've laid out here, I think I'm going to just be an employee.
Well, you know, that's what the state of Washington had in mind.
Yeah.
You know, there's two sides to it. There is an empathetic side that says people are maybe not getting the deal they thought they were getting, and we've decided to take it on ourselves to step in and help that. The other side of the question is it changes the whole model of how employer fees go to the state. because table renters and booth renters are still responsible for a lot of fees that they don't pay.
Right.
And the state will eventually get around to them, and it's going to be a very bad day because all of a sudden you've got another bill to pay. But it's not aggressively enforced, and so there's some things hiding in the woods out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so the state's intention was to modernize that industry, and they've actually tried to be more aggressive in that regard. It hasn't gone that way yet, but I'll tell you, it's coming, because they are looking to move into things like this and other kinds of businesses where people are still trying the I'm running my own business inside your business type thing. That happens with some mechanic shops.
I was gonna
Bring
say,
your
yeah,
own
so,
tools
yeah.
and that kind of thing. But it hasn't happened yet, but the state's really headed that way because they're running a business here.
Yeah, right. It's their own kind of business, but it is, right.
So, when you look back at all those things, the booth and table renters don't get any of those things. Now, they can call up Labor and Industries and get their own workers' comp, but you can't get employment security and some of those other things. Now, W-2 cosmetology workers, I think when you look back on all this, really are treated like the licensed professionals they are. I mean, they went to school. They took a test. They got a license. And booth and table renting starts to look a little bit like gig work after a while.
Yeah.
They're running in place. You take a look at taxes. They're a nightmare for booth and table renters. They've got to do a Schedule C. They've got to get all the receipts. They've got to deduct all their expenses, or they just have to eat them. And, of course, how many people are focused on that in January when you've really got to start pulling that data together? I know a guy that runs a band that probably has to do that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And that's easy because I'm only dealing with four people, and we're all kind of the same thing. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. But that's another thing those well-intentioned instructors did not cover. W-2 employees, well, they fill in one simple form.
Yeah. Yep.
And their employer has already taken care of all the deposits. So all their fees are paid, all their deposits are made, and all they need to do is fill out that form and get their refund. Here's what might be the biggest gig work problem of all. We live in a data-driven world. Want a better cell phone plan, a nice apartment, or a newer car? Booth and table renters look like gig workers to finance officers. No visible means of support. W-2 employees have a solid proof of income. That good old W-2. That's like money. For licensed cosmetology workers seeking credit, a W-2 employee looks like a professional. Booth and table renters, not so much. Now, here's how listeners can help people caught in the salon gig work trap. Most salon professionals are working right now and might not be listening. Shame on them. People who care about licensed cosmetology workers are listening. And here's an easy way to help those salon professionals you care about. Our labor laws give cosmetology workers the right to contact salons and ask for an informational interview. Cosmetology workers have the right to seek out W-2 employment opportunities. Salon professionals don't need to wait for a job posting. They can reach out and ask. Employer salons are usually happy to meet and discuss opportunities. This is how people in Microsoft get other gigs. They go have coffee with another department head or another team leader and say,
and
hey,
they move across the hall to somebody else.
Or maybe next year, when Joe's got an opening, he wants Sally to come on his team, and internal fills are a lot easier to do. So encourage a salon worker you care about to make some inquiries, to set up some informational interviews with local salons. The results could be life-changing.
So before we run out of time, let's flip the script just a smidgen. You own a salon.
I do.
Why do you want a W-2 employee? I mean, this might be advantageous to actually encourage someone to ask you about becoming a regular employee.
Exactly. Well, we have been a W-2 shop since we opened.
Right,
yeah, that's because we believe it's the only way to go.
I think some people will be reluctant to say, I don't like that because I got to then pay all the taxes and I got to do all of those things. What do you say?
Well, I'm a business person. I'm a business coach for a living. I've got an MBA. I mean, it's one of those things that I was kind of prepared for that.
Right.
So when we decided to open, we realized that this is really the long-term, most sustainable way to go and the best way to go. And as an example of how W-2s work, everybody who's worked for us bought a new car.
Yeah.
Because they
Very
had
nice
the
ones, too.
paperwork.
That's right. Yeah.
They had the paperwork.
Yeah.
Well, I just would like people to think about that. And if you're in hair, you can call some hair salons, see if there's any W-2 shops out here. Same thing with massage therapists. There were some terrible abuses of massage therapists, especially along the lines of you just sit here, but you don't go on the clock till somebody comes in. So, but, I think the times are changing, and the state's going to change them even more. So people might as well get their heads around that. Now, next week, it's more joy. We're going to talk about the joyful small business owner and the myths that block them, like the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, the myths that block their joy.
Oh, it's always so good. All right,
That's me.
KevinYourBusinessCoach.com is Kevin's website, and you post up all of his show notes and everything there as well, and you can contact him that way as well. And we always have fun with Kevin in on our Thursdays.
It's always a fun
business
Thursday.
stuff.
That's
Now,
right.
I didn't even think about the gig relationship to cosmetology type.
Well, and again, times have changed. There was probably a time when the bad old days when that might have been a good idea, but you don't have to do it that way now if you don't want to.
Now, the rules certainly have changed.
No, and are changing more. Yep.
Right. All right, Kevin, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more. We're going to talk a little bit about a program that helps foster kids and their families here in our area right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Hi, it's Dan Shappy with Farmers Insurance. Community matters, and that's why we're proud to support Todd Ortloff and local voices that keep us connected. If you want insurance advice from real neighbors, stop by our office on Peabody Street. Real people helping real people right here at home.
Dan Shappy and Farmers Insurance is proud to sponsor the Todd Ortloff Show every Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
This is Kevin Murphy with Radio Pacific. We've teamed up with Clallam County Emergency Management and the Port of Port Angeles to help keep you safe in the event of an emergency. With me is CERT First Responder Mac McDonald. Mac, I understand you're here to give a compliment.
That's right. Our residents deserve kudos for being so aware about the risks and dangers of earthquakes or tsunamis that may hit our area. You are learning what to do if the Cascadia subduction zone decided to uncork. You've learned where your tsunami escape route is. You know what to pack into your emergency to-go backpack, and you have one ready. You've done all this and so much more so that you'll be prepared in the event of a natural disaster. So congratulations to all of you for not being complacent.
Well, Mac, we are all working together to keep our residents safe. Search online CERT Clallam County for preparation resources.
Don't be scared, just be prepared.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. The closing bell had a different tone today, recovering more than half the losses from the worst sell-off in the Dow in more than a year, led by Microsoft's best earnings in 18 years, the Dow climbing 614. The FBI is aware of cyber attacks this week at more than 30 water plants across Minnesota. It did not confirm suspicions by some state and local officials that Iranian hackers may be to blame. After President Trump said he may pull the nomination of Todd Blanche for Attorney General, Blanche met today with the men blocking the vote, John Cornyn and Tom Tillis. Senator Cornyn is a no because Blanche hasn't fully abandoned the compensation fund President Trump wants.
And I know that Todd Blanche understands it, but I think he's probably getting some pushback from the White House, and that's making things more complicated than it needs to be.
Georgia father Colin Gray sentenced to 15 years for ignoring warning signs when his son killed 4 people at a high school. This is ABC News.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. 65 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies. Northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, lows around 52. Tomorrow, 70. Rain likely Saturday, highs around 64. 62, sunshine mixed with clouds at times Sunday. A peek at the extended shows 68 Monday, 73 Tuesday, and 72 on Wednesday. To recap, high of 65 today, we should dip down to around 52 tonight, a high of 70 tomorrow. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 65.
something we've talked about in the past, but then kind of a new wrinkle to what's going on with this group that the public can get involved with as well. And it's Olympic Angels. We've, in the past couple of years, had folks on to talk about what this group's all about and how it helps support those in foster care and the families that are helping out with foster care in our area. And we welcome Nikayla Hart, who's the Marketing and Development Manager for Olympic Angels. Hi, Nikayla. Good to come in. See you here.
Thank you for that wonderful intro. We are excited to be here.
So let's kind of go back, and I'll let you define for folks who know nothing about Olympic Angels just what this group is.
Absolutely. So Olympic Angels is all about creating stability for families and youth in our community here in Clallam and Jefferson County experiencing foster care. And what that looks like is kinship care, foster care formally, really kids that are at risk who have left their home due to those at-risk circumstances.
How did this group get started?
Oh, gosh. It got started formally here back in 2019 in Port Townsend through our founder, Morgan Hanna. And initially, though, it's actually a national program. It started in Texas with Susan Ramirez, who's the founder of all of our chapters here. So Susan walked into a courtroom one day I believe it was a courtroom. It might have been actually, it was a judge who was talking about two youth in care who, they entered care, same age, really should have taken the same path, but one of those youth had support and one of them didn't. And when she heard the story and how awful it was, she was like, I have to do something. And through that, she started a love box, is what we call it, kind of informally, and then it became what it is now. We have chapters all across the nation who are stepping in and being the village for people who are bringing kids into their home. In
the past, when we've talked about this, it's those foster families. I mean, they're doing yeoman's work, and
Yes.
they're doing, But the problem is that they can only go so far,
Right?
And this is where Olympic Angels steps in.
Exactly. Yes. So through community volunteers, what we do is we meet with families who have brought kids into their home, and we match them with community volunteers. We call them love boxes. They're groups of, friends, family. Maybe it's a civic group. And what they do is they show up for this family month after month. They're matched intentionally. Our whole goal is relationships. So we match them based on, as a volunteer, what's your capacity? What can you do? Can you drop a meal off? Can you babysit? What can you do? What drives you to feel good and to help your community? And then for this family, what needs do you have? What do you need help with? We're really just creating a village. A lot of people don't have that, and most foster homes close within a year because they don't have that. So we're just trying to step in and create stability.
And that's an important part, too, because there is a serious lack of foster homes in our area. And if you can keep them running, that also is a good thing,
Exactly. Right? That's exactly what our whole goal is, keeping kids, whether they're waiting for reunification or maybe adoption, whatever their path looks like, just making sure that they can stay in one place in their community for as long as they can. Because, here in Spokane are completely different environments. And if there's not room here, there's a chance that they'll go there, and that's a different school, that's new teachers, that's new friends, a new environment. And so our goal is to just really keep their normalcy right here. Keep them here where they have familiarity, where they have connection, so that they can, hopefully thrive.
You already alluded to this, but it's very tailored for not only the family, but actually the kids, right?
Yeah,
because I remember talking in years past, you might have a foster kid who's really into certain sports. You might try to find a volunteer that really can, almost be a coach, I guess. Yes. Be somebody who could help them along with their baseball skills.
Yes, exactly. So our Dare to Dream program is a one-to-one mentorship, and it's for youth 11 to about 22, kind of depending on circumstances. And what we do there is if you have a sport or you have a career goal, what we try to do is we try to find a volunteer who maybe they're in that field, or maybe they have connection that they can help you, identify the goal and then take the steps to get there, right? It's easy to create goals. It's hard to do all of the things leading up to the success. And so that's what our mentors do, is they walk alongside kids that know, or maybe they don't know. Maybe it's a basic task like remembering to set your alarm for school every day. It doesn't always have to be something big. It's just having support to do the things you need to do.
And then there's another part to this, right, that with it being another connection into the community beyond just kind of what foster mom or dad might be. I mean, there's another adult out there, right?
Absolutely. There are youth, and we'll kind of touch on this when we talk about our upcoming event, but a lot of youth have support while they're in care. And then when when they age out of care, they're left with no one. If they were at a foster family that they're fostering, and then when you're out, goodbye, they don't have anyone. And so our goal with our programs is getting them relationships that last a lifetime. You're becoming family. Our commitment is a year from our volunteers. It's once a month or twice a month, depending on the program. And our hope is that you become so connected and so intertwined that it doesn't matter if they move or they age out or maybe they stay in care and get adopted. It doesn't matter. You're there. You're their person. They can confide in you. You're a healthy, stable adult just there to support them.
So you're on staff, but you actually got involved with this as a volunteer, right?
Yes. It was a previous coworker who's now our ED. Actually, I knew her, and she asked me, "Hey, do you want to do a photo shoot?" I have a young daughter at the time. She was about 6 months old, and I didn't really know anything. I just said, "Yeah, sure, anything for you," And then I got to know who Olympic Angels was and kind of sat back and watched and loved what they were doing. Now here I am.
So how do you find the volunteers? I mean, and that also is going to play into what we'll get into in just a moment.
Yeah.
But I know there's always an ask for this because you can use millions more, I'm sure.
Yes. We always are looking for volunteers, and they come through so many different avenues. Our community is so unique in that we're rural, we're small. In some ways that's great. In some ways it's a hardship. But here, a lot of it is word of mouth. We do tabling events and things of that nature. We're starting to lean into more events with our community just to raise awareness, and because a lot of people here don't know it exists. So a lot of it really is word of mouth and just letting people know what's going on, because once you hear what's going on, it's hard to ignore it. It's hard to say no and walk away.
And I'm not going to exaggerate, but some of those same kids we were just talking about, if they didn't have this, they would probably spend a lot of their time just sitting in their room and being totally disengaged,
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, exactly. So, again, depending on the family and the youth in care, and it's not everyone's story, but the statistics around foster care are harrowing. I mean, truly, I get choked up thinking about it, but it is really hard when you think about the vulnerability and where they could end up.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long to get there. That's the thing. It's a very quick, slippery slope.
Oh, absolutely. Right? I mean, when you think, a simple task for you and I, who maybe have stable relationships around us, for someone who has no one, who doesn't know, how do I get a driver's license? How do I apply for a job? Yeah, that's your livelihood.
And that also kind of leads me to another thing. Is there a greater need? Maybe that's the wrong way to phrase this, though. But for some of those older foster kids who are kind of transitioning into what it's going to be like to be an adult.
Yeah, I mean, our older youth are amazing. The talents that we see, the creativity that we see, is so amazing. But having those people, those volunteers that step in, we have, matches that you just see, from the beginning, where maybe the volunteer had this idea of what their journey would look like, and this youth had this idea of what their journey would look like, and then the evolution that happens.
It ends up being what nobody thought,
yes,
really.
what no one thought, but that is so beautiful. They have the support and they can thrive, and no one knows what's going to happen. So it's just showing up and being there no matter what does.
Okay, take us kind of through it, maybe a what if. I sign up, I say, hey, I heard about this. I might want to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does it work?
Yeah, if you go onto our website, and there's so many places, so many little buttons you can click around to volunteer, but you can say get involved under the work, and what you'll do is you'll fill out this application. One of our case managers will then give you a call and just kind of get to know you, get to know who you are, what drives you, what your passions are, what you're hoping to get out of volunteering. And then from there, we kind of segment and figure out, do we have anyone right now that this would be maybe a good match for? Do you have friends and family that can join you on this journey? And then once we kind of have established, yes, we can move forward, you get background checked. We do some training with your whole group around trauma and behavior, because we want you to feel equipped as a volunteer as well. And really just keep a very open dialogue between volunteers and caregivers so that everyone can feel comfortable. Because it's strange meeting a stranger, right?
Sure.
It's weird to just step into someone's life that you don't know. And so we do that by what we call the love box. And essentially, usually it involves kind of bringing tangible goods, right? So if we know like this family needs Pampers and some macaroni and cheese, or maybe they need a meal on Wednesdays, it kind of starts there. It starts with those tangible, easy things that you can do. And then from there, it just evolves, like I said, into a relationship where you're just supporting each other. So the volunteer process to get started is basically that. Just apply and just talk and start the conversation. And then from there, it's really just finding what the best fit is.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, I mean, you're equipping these volunteers to go into places where they feel like they could fit.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And, maybe it's the baseball family, or maybe it's something else, or maybe it's as simple as getting a driver's license.
And some people will say, well, I don't have time to volunteer, or foster care, that would break my heart. I don't think I could do that because I'll get too involved. I encourage you to just apply, because volunteering doesn't have to look like meeting the family. And some of our volunteers never meet the family that they volunteer for. Because it's a group, you can be the person that says, I can run to the grocery store. Can you pick it all up and deliver it?
Yeah, so you can support the love box, so to speak, right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We really do believe that there's a place for everyone.
So how many volunteers do you have active right now, and just locally?
I want to say it's about 160 volunteers right now.
So, but again, you could use 360.
Exactly, right. We always have something to do and something coming up. So, even if, it's not a good match right now, like some of our volunteers we do have that are on our wait list as a volunteer for a little while.
And just waiting for kind of the right match, right?
Because we want to match you intentionally. Yeah. We don't want to match you in a family where it's like you want to be really involved, but they're kind of saying, hey, we just want dinner provided once a week, because we have such a busy schedule. That's not going to feel good for you or them, right? So we want to match you on purpose. We want to do it intentionally.
And as I'm hearing you here, the level of commitment is not a whole lot, really. I mean, it could be as much as you want to make it.
Exactly.
But we're talking like a number of hours in a month, not days in a month.
Right,
per se.
right, exactly. So our Dare to Dream program is a twice a month connection. And again, sometimes that looks like making the phone call of like, how's everything going? Do you need help with anything? And other times it is. We're going to a baseball game. We're going to, go do something fun together, or we're going to go explore or talk to your teacher or get homework done. And then for our love box, it's once a month. But oftentimes what happens is they start out at that once a month, and then
grows,
pretty soon, they're together on the weekends. Yeah.
So it is. It's a great service.
Yes.
I mean, it really is. And it's. We were talking before we went on the air that it's too bad you have to have it.
Right.
But I'm thankful that it has gotten so established here locally.
Yeah, I have 2 kids myself, and I'm not eligible for our programs. But I often joke, like, I need my own love box.
Right.
Like, I need this, and I'm not facing half of the struggles that they are, and I need this.
Right, Right. So, all right. So let's talk about this new initiative you have out there. This was kind of interesting. This is kind of what got me to call you guys in this time, is that at a Rotary Club meeting, I heard about this Pages of Perspective project.
Yes. Yeah, we are excited. It's our first real big event as Olympic Angels. As we've kind of expanded into Clallam and Jefferson County. And what we're doing is we're bringing books into the community. The book is Words of the State by Claudia Rowe. And I'm reading it right now. I'm about halfway through, and I am enthralled. I mean, it is a really good book. But our goal here is to create awareness. So the stories within the book, I'll try not to give it away, but local to Washington, most of them, and that's where it started. And they're all true stories. And it's talking about youth in care from, infancy all the way through, and the outcomes that we see. And we see those outcomes here in our county all the time, homelessness, addiction, mental health crisis. And it's addressing this correlation between foster care and what we see once they're out of care. It's hard to imagine that these people that we maybe, have these preconceived notions were once children who really just needed someone. They just needed support. They needed a love box. They needed a mentor, and they didn't have that. Or maybe they did and they weren't ready, or they weren't equipped, to tap in. And our whole goal here is to just create awareness around, if we can catch people upstream, if we can reach them before.
You're going to stop that. Yeah, you put the brakes on a lot of problems later. Claudia Rose got a big. The story here is interesting because this was I'll let you talk a bit about it, because her coming out with this book was almost a surprise in a way.
Yeah, it wasn't her plan. It was not on her list of things to do. She walked into a courtroom for something, again, totally different, similar to our founder. And she was listening to a trial, and this young girl was on trial for murder. And the defense was essentially saying, this happened because she was in care. This happened because of foster care. This is what led to this moment in time where someone lost their life. And now she's potentially going to prison. As a young girl, she barely, met the cutoff for being tried as an adult, like weeks. And so that's, she just was like, what is this? Like, I have to dig in. And she did. And she interviewed and she learned. And she, I'm not to the end yet, but it's really interesting because it's true. It was right here. It's not like this idea of something that happened far away that would never happen here. Like, this was here
in our state, right here.
Yeah.
And and she traces it all back to really kind of what happened or didn't happen in this young lady's life.
Yeah, what happened, what didn't happen, and really the origin of foster care, which, I mean, when you think about learning the history of foster care, it can sound kind of boring and drab, but it's really interesting how it started and how it's kind of evolved into what it is today is very different than what it was. And in some ways, a lot better than what it was. And in some ways, I'm like, we could go back to that. I think there's, some things that we can all learn and the transformation that could happen.
Okay, so you're trying to get this book out to as many people as you possibly can. So how are you doing that?
Yeah, so we are going to have pickup locations in Clallam and Jefferson County to be determined. If you tap into our website, we're going to list all the details there next week. We are very excited. So you can pick up the book for free. It's no cost. Read it. And then at the end of the summer, we're going to have an event in Sequim at the Elks, and the author will come. She'll talk. We're going to have youth and adults with lived experience come and kind of share their story. And then we just ask that you pass the book along. So it'll be available to the public. We'll have 300 books. And they'll be here next week.
And it's a perfect illustration of the importance of Olympic Angels as to what you are doing, because you're trying to stop what happened with this courtroom scene that Claudia Ward fell into.
Yes, exactly. We hear, all the time. I was at Swains weeks ago and people were coming up and they're saying, I didn't even know we had foster care here. It's such a small community. And I'm like, it is here.
Yeah. And it's big. There's a lot of need for it here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the other kind of misconceptions is, foster care is, CPS or DCYF or the state came and took my kids. And sometimes that's not the case. In fact, here it's much more common that, youth are taking initiative. Those older kids are taking the initiative to say, Mom and Dad aren't coming home, or it's not safe here. I'm going to go to my friend's house and I'm going to, couch surf for a little bit. And maybe no one knows, or maybe they do know. And we just want to step in and help them. We just want to be there. And again, for those families that are formally in care, to support them, to support that transition that happens from, maybe from foster care back home, or maybe to a new placement, just providing people that are going to follow these kids, that are going to support the home so that they stay open and kids don't have to move at all.
Right. Sounds like we're probably going to be talking again later in the summer. We get a little closer to this event that's out there. But in the meantime, people should head over to olympicangels.org. All of the info about what we've talked about here. Maybe you might want to volunteer as well. You can pop over there and check that out too. It's a great organization, and you guys are doing wonderful things. And we would love to get you more volunteers and more awareness as well.
We're excited.
So, all right. That's Nikayla Hart, who is the marketing and development director for Olympic Angels. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more in just a moment.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Hi, it's Dan Shappy with Farmers Insurance. Ever call somewhere and get stuck in a phone maze so long you start questioning your life choices?
Press 1 to speak to a robot. Press 2 to be routed to the number 4 button. Press 3 to be disconnected inexplicably.
Yeah, we don't do that. We're right here in Port Angeles at 405 South Peabody Street. You need help? Just stop in. We'll look up, smile, and actually talk with you. Farmers Insurance, here when you need us.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Olympic Hot Tub has more ways than ever to achieve total wellness at home. Immerse yourself in a saltwater hot spring spa and let jets melt stress away. Enjoy a refreshing swim in an endless pool swim spa. Retreat to healing warmth and detox in a Tilo sauna. Then awaken mind and body with a cold plunge. You'll be saying, in no time. Your path to wellness starts today at Olympic Hot Tub. Current specials with exciting savings at olympichottub.com. Better you, better life.
Come see Price Ford when shopping for your next new or pre-owned vehicle.
How about a new Ford F-150 for those tough tasks, a sleek Ford Mustang, or a versatile Escape for your daily commute? Price Ford has a comprehensive selection for every need and budget. Our knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect vehicle that fits your lifestyle and budget. Price Ford, next to Walmart in Port Angeles, or priceford.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. If it's showing signs of age, leaks, or storm damage, upgrade now with Tri-State Roofing. Use special promo code KONP50 and receive 50% off new gutters with your new roof, or 50% off a new skylight with your roof replacement. It's the perfect opportunity to improve your home's protection, beauty, and value while saving big. At Tri-State Roofing, we install quality roofing systems backed by expert craftsmanship and outstanding customer service. Our flexible financing options means the roof you need has never been more affordable. Call the local team your neighbors trust. 360-208-2222. That's 360-208-2222. Mention promo code KONP50 to receive 50% off gutters with your new roof, or 50% off a skylight with your roof replacement. Tri-State Roofing. Quality you can trust. Protection that lasts.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Bathfitter is celebrating over 42,000 installations in Western Washington. That's 42,000 bathrooms made safer, cleaner, and more stylish. Right now, get free installation and no interest financing for 24 months on the bathroom of your dreams. Custom fit tub and shower solutions installed in as little as 1 day with complete removal of your old setup, backed by a lifetime warranty. Visit bathfitternw.com for your free consultation. Special financing for qualified buyers only.
Picture this: a warm summer evening, great company, and the perfect deck beneath your feet. If you're looking to build a deck, or your current deck is showing its age, it's time for an upgrade. And your favorite employee-owned stores, Angeles Millwork and Hartnaggles, are here to help. Our employee owners don't just sell decking, we listen, guide, and make sure you get the perfect materials for your home, budget, and lifestyle. Looking for natural beauty? Cedar and Douglas fir decking bring warmth and real wood character, but they do require regular upkeep. Want low maintenance durability? Composite decking blends wood and plastics for long-lasting strength with minimal care. But maybe you need the ultimate in longevity. PVC decking comes with warranties of up to 50 years and requires little more than a simple rinse to stay looking great. See and feel the difference for yourself. Visit lumbertraders.com or stop by Angeles Millwork or Hartnaggles to talk with a decking specialist today. As always, we deeply appreciate you for shopping local and employee-owned.
Your community partners at First Fed continue their more than 100-year tradition of giving back to the community they serve. In that same spirit, we take a moment to spotlight community members doing great things for our area, like our local Kiwanis clubs. Kiwanis clubs work diligently to improve our community. Members of the Noon Kiwanis Club of Port Angeles and the Olympic Kiwanis Club are dedicated to our local children, taking part in community service projects, fundraising for great causes, initiatives like the Dream Playground, supporting foster families, and events like the Lincoln Park Kids Fishing Derby. First Fed appreciates working side by side with our local Kiwanis Club supporting great local causes. The Kiwanis Club of Port Angeles meets Thursdays at noon, while the Olympic Kiwanis Club meets for breakfast at 7 a.m. Consider joining the Morning or Noon Kiwanis Club. It's a fun and rewarding way to give back to our community. This has been the Community Corner, presented by First Fed.
Does the thought of stepping into a funeral home make you feel a little nervous or uneasy? If so, that is okay. It's very normal. Here at Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, we want to let you know that you don't actually have to come into one of our funeral homes to make advanced planning for yourself or a loved one. We can complete the process over the phone and via email. Greater peace of mind is just one phone call away. Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Meet Jean. She calls Lavender Meadows in Sequim home. It's the kind of place where mornings feel unhurried, neighbors know your name, and life is meant to be enjoyed.
It's just the camaraderie. We have potlucks here, we have Thanksgiving here. I've made some very nice friends, and it's just a nice atmosphere.
Come home to Lavender Meadows in Sequim. Visit lavendermeadowsmhc.com to learn more.
Where does your generosity to Mercy Ships go?
to a small fishing village in Africa, to the hopes of a boy, to his dreams of playing soccer, to the hands of a surgeon, the long recovery, until one day, the joy of finally being part of the team. Where does your generosity go? Wherever mercy does.
At the Y, strength means being together. Swimming, dancing, learning, lifting, or volunteering, to name a few. 175 years later, there's still no place like this place. Get involved at your Y. Learn more at ymca.org.
Your voice, your news. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim. AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3. A Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News. Lindsay Davis, Anchor Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. Money lost, money made after the worst day for the Dow in more than a year. It made back more than half those losses today. The Dow gaining 614 points even as the Iran war drags on and with energy markets in turmoil. What made the market move is Microsoft. Its earnings, the best in 18 years because investors finally see AI spending translating into profits. President Trump says he may withdraw Todd Blanche's nomination for Attorney General because of opposition from two senators in his own party. John Cornyn and Tom Tillis are blocking the vote over Trump's immunity deal with the IRS. But there's late news from the Capitol and ABC's Catherine Falders.
For the first time this week, after many canceled meetings, that Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche did in fact meet with Cornyn and Tillis. Just moments ago, the meeting did not happen here on Capitol Hill. It was off campus, so out of view, despite being outside the senator's offices. So we didn't see the meeting occur, but they have met. I'm also told by sources that they believe they are closer. What that means is unclear at this point, considering there's been a great deal of back and forth. But the reality is the Senate here is gone. So they would have to get this done on Monday, and then maybe they could get Blanche confirmed by the August recess, which begins next week.
Cyber attacks are being reported at more than 30 water plants across Minnesota. State and federal authorities are looking into whether Iran could be behind the attacks. The FBI says it is aware of the attacks on Sunday and Monday, but did not assign blame. Ukraine says a recent attack by Russia used a North Korean missile for the first time. A Georgia father who ignored warning signs before his son shot up Appalachia High School, killing 4 people, gets 15 years in prison. The judge telling the dad,
"You did not provide a stable household. You did not have things in check with Marcy's issues and what the kids were being exposed to."
The teen used a rifle his dad gave him for Christmas. You're listening to ABC News.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Bakery owners, you will be loved today. Every pastry will be flaky. Your cake will make a child's day. Your delivery van won't get sideswiped by a distracted garbage truck driver. But if so, breathe easy, knowing you'll get back to business quickly with Progressive protecting your commercial auto. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
I'm Lindsay Davis. For the latest on today's headlines, be sure to watch Prime tonight starting at 7 Eastern on ABC News Live. Now, more news.
And a wild story of survival.
As he was hiking Montana's highest peak earlier this month, David Cifaldi slipped and fell, noticing, in his words, something wasn't right.
Realized I had this trekking pole stuck in my side.
The pole had gone below his left arm, through his body, and was sticking out of his back. Cifaldi, who's a nurse, spotted little blood and only light pain, so he assumed he hadn't hit any major organs. After talking it over with his fellow hikers and realizing a rescue flight would be very expensive, he decided to walk 10 miles back down the mountain to the car.
It was definitely a nuisance.
His friend Jess Ross calls it amazing.
He never complained.
Cifaldi said it hurt for a few days, but he's fine now. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Divers in New Jersey's rain-swollen Passaic River found the body today of a 10-year-old who apparently kept his 11-year-old sister alive as they struggled in the water last night. Passaic Mayor Hector Laura.
He had put his hand on her head trying to get up
above the water, and he may have inadvertently saved her life, or without even knowing, obviously. When he pushed her down, she described that underwater she felt rocks. When she came up, she couldn't see him, but she used the rocks to get back up.
And crews are back in the water looking for another child, a 10-year-old girl who remains missing. Officials believe all three were near a riverbank ramp, waded into the river, and got swept away. I'm Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Port Angelo's looking for more ways to cut costs after falling about $1.1 million behind in its operating revenue projections through the first half of this year. Officials say reduced marine terminal activities, the big cause. Department's now reviewing vacancies and other savings and also ways to bring in more business. Peninsula Behavioral Health has opened Northview. It's a new 36-unit permanent supportive housing complex at 2nd and Oak Streets in Port Angeles. The first residents for those studio, 1- and 2-bedroom apartments expected to move in sometime in September.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Lots of sunshine this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 65. Winds out of the northwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows dip down to about 52. Daytime highs approaching 70 tomorrow, mainly clear skies. Rain likely Saturday, daytime highs approaching 64. 62, sunshine mixed with clouds at times Sunday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 68 Monday, 73 Tuesday, and 72 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 66.
Normal is broke and common sense is weird, so we're here to help you transform your life. From the Ramsey Network in the Fairwinds Credit Union studio, this is The Ramsey Show. I'm Jade Warshot. Next to me, Rachel Cruz. We're taking calls about your life and your money for the next hour or so. So hop in on the phone lines where John is there from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey, John, you're up on the line.
Hi, ladies. I would like to introduce myself real quick. I am the president of the First National Bank of the Perpetually Screwed. I am married to the CEO of the First National Bank of the Perpetually Screwed. And let me explain why I say that. So I found out maybe a few months ago we've loaned out maybe $45,000 to 3 people.
Oh, okay.
Gosh.
Now I get it. You're
It
the
makes
bank.
sense.
You're okay. I was like, where is he going with this?
How did you find out later that you loaned $45,000? Were you loaning money without telling your wife and she doing the same?
No, she did it to us. And now I said yes to 2 of these people, and it was $18,000.
Who were these people?
So one is our father-in-law. One is a friend who's a teacher who doesn't get paid in the summer. And then another is a close family friend, and I did not authorize the third. And so now we're about $40,000 to $45,000 of our emergency fund is loaned out.
Okay.
And now we've hit a financial snag of our own, and we need that money. I don't know what to do. Yes, we are in couples counseling about this and other things, but I don't know what we need to do aside from maybe rice and beans until this stuff gets paid back for maybe 5 to 7 years. What is the solution here? Because we need some of this money now, and
yeah. How much do you guys make a year?
This out. It's about I'm around 69, and she's around maybe 80.
Okay, and that's good.
Last time I checked, and so I was supposed to make 10,000 more, and then my company cut my overtime. That was kind of the cushion of this fall, and so I'm kind of stuck here. We need this money now.
Yeah, what happened that caused you to need this money right now?
Yeah, because just losing overtime doesn't feel like enough of a.
We've had some home expenses pop up.
Like what?
But I know it's going to sound really kind of, it's not dramatic, but we're building a pool, and the patio is also turns out has dry rotted and needs to be replaced, and so we had money set aside for this, but now it's just overages out the wazoo. And so I'm just like,
how much money are the overages, John? How much are they?
It's maybe I'm as of last night, it's about $15,000.
Okay. And how much was your emergency fund total before the $45,000 was spent?
So the emergency fund, I think, is gone. I think I'm not really the one who does the books in the family.
You think it's gone?
I think the emergency fund is gone.
Okay, so they're right there. Let's hang out right there because that's the problem in all of this. There's a lot of individual things that we could point out, but I think the main problem that at least I'm seeing, Rachel, is there's kind of a lackadaisicalness about the money. You don't even know how much was in the fund, but you were okay. You okayed $38,000 of loans and didn't even know how much was there to begin with. And then you're looking up going, well, hold on. I'm just going by what you said. And then you're saying we're building a pool in the midst of this. And
without an emergency fund.
Without an emergency fund, or at least we don't know how much was in the emergency fund. So this points to just what I'm just going to call there's no intentionality here. It's almost like you guys are doing pretty well. You're making $150,000 a year. You've got a cushion, and now we can just kind of do whatever we want. And I think that's kind of what's taken place.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I thought there was still, granted, I knew there was more than $18,000 in the emergency fund.
And you probably felt, but it was vibes. I'm saying it was gone on vibes because it was like, there's probably more than that. We can go ahead and do this. And the way we teach here is there's so much power in knowing exactly how much money you have and assigning, and this is how I'm going to spend it, and this is where it's going to go. And we're thinking about it ahead of time. Now what's happened, so let's fast forward to the loans. What's happened here, and this is a separate issue, we've taken money and we've loaned it to family and friends, which is, loaning is not really an act of generosity because it's not a give, right? It's giving is I don't expect anything in return. I'm giving this to you. This wasn't an act of generosity. This was an act of a bank, which you called that out. And now you're on the hook. And unfortunately, if you push on your family and friends to give you this money back, maybe before they expected to, maybe before they can, so that you can keep doing this pool, it is going to have an effect.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the risk of when you go into debt and you borrow, or you're the lender to people in your life because, this happens.
Borrower, slave to the lender.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have had the conversation now where I'm like, there is a reason banks would not give these people money, and they have to.
Seriously, it's a great point.
So that is why I say I'm the president of the First National Bank of the Perpetually Screwed.
Well, you learned a lesson.
Okay,
these people could not qualify